Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So what are your impressions of Valhalla, just for folks that have not seen it on TV or didn't watch the Ryder Cups or past majors? You know, they see a PGA maybe at a Southern Hills or a Bet Page or, whatever it may be. And they're like, Valhalla and Louisville, Kentucky. But like, look at the tournaments produced and it's insane. Yeah, it really has. And obviously, of course, I'm biased toward it.
Only on SportsGrid.
Draisaitl could easily, at plus money, get the first goal, the second goal, the fourth goal. There's a few guys here. Maybe the prop betting market is not a bad way to look here.
Clippers over the Mavericks. If I would have told you that score before the game, knowing that Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing, I would have really figured it would have been the other way around. But the NBA is just crazy.
In-game live, all access. Only on SportsGrid.
DraftKings making a progressive move, I think, that most other companies are also going to do or have done in the past. Adding someone from the government or someone you would say in legislation to become their responsible gaming leader here. And in this case, her name is Lori Kalani.
And it'll be interesting to see if other companies try to follow suit in terms of hiring former lobbyists to head responsible gaming.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid. All right, welcome in and a very happy Monday to you now, June the 3rd, and it's in-game live primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan, and we've got you covered here over the next couple of hours as we're keeping our eye on some Major League Baseball action here tonight. Some interesting pitching matchups, to say the least here. We've got the Mets and Washington. The Mets actually are hitting. That is kind of a shocking revelation here, but they are up on the Nats 3-1 right now. And don't look now to Phillies. Shocker, with Wheeler on the mound, handling business against the Brewers 3-0. And the Orioles, somehow, people thought Gausman was a better option than Rodriguez there, but that's not turning out to be the case here. Top of the fourth, 3-1 in that one. We've got Tigers getting ready to start against the Rangers. Dave, Cardinals, who I don't know when the hell they got into Houston, about 2:00 in the morning, after having a little Sunday night baseball against the Philadelphia Phillies. Mm-hmm. We got Reds, Rockies this hour. Not to mention, of course, next hour, Padres, Angels, and finally we'll get a little Giants and Diamondbacks here. But which one you got your eye on here? It almost feels like a foregone conclusion. Phillies first five, coming off a loss last night with their ace on the mound. Felt kind of like that was the right spot here tonight.
Without a doubt. And they didn't have to travel, right? So they got to stay home. That Sunday night game to the travel, you just mentioned, against St. Louis, and probably on the Phillies. Phillies got the best record in the National League. Now, not in baseball, because your Yankees just never lose. They just keep finding ways to win. The Phillies keep doing it in the National League. So, yes, it was a little bit pricey, but so far so good. If you laid it the first five, you're good as long as it doesn't rain. They're up 3-0 now, bottom of the fifth. Betting on Wheeler's fun. Even when you have to lay a bit of a price, you might have to sweat an inning or two in the bullpen, but hopefully he continues to cruise for Phillies backers. First game of the series is always interesting, Joe, isn't it? Where you got to look at, like what did they do just now over the weekend? I mean, I got my eyes on a couple games. The Reds. I'm wearing the City Connect Reds stuff because I like the Reds a little bit tonight. There's an argument that can be made for both sides. And then the Pacific Coast, West Coast games, I like both. It's a little bit of something in each for everybody. So between San Francisco and Arizona, San Diego and the Angels, we'll have some stuff there. I wasn't sure. I don't know what to do with the St. Louis-Houston game, Joe. Is it just automatic that you just play Verlander?
No, that's the problem though. If anybody's watched Verlander so far since he's come back, it's not the same. It's not your dad's Verlander anymore.
No.
This is a very weaker version of that. And until I see it, and I'll give him. Maybe it's going to take him a little while, obviously, to get back. Maybe it's going to take a little bit longer. After all, we're only 2 months into the season, and he didn't start right away. So, we'll give him a little time. But there is nothing trustworthy about laying almost $2 to back a Houston team here that, quite honestly, is about as inconsistent as it comes right now. And I know you had mentioned the fact that the Yankees never lose. The Mets apparently are on a track to never win because they're giving up home runs to Joey Gallo. And now, after saying nice things about them to open this show up and how they were up 3-1 and hitting the ball, Joey Gallo just hit one into, it looks like, New Jersey, and they are up 4-3, the Nats, now at the end of 4. The Mets are... got to be sellers, Dave. I mean, it keeps like this. There are a few teams I would imagine are going to be shopping some dudes around. It is about the time to pull the plug on the Mets here and start from scratch because things are not going well. I don't see JD Martinez being on this team after the All-Star break. Somebody will grab that power and that bat here who's a contender, and the Mets certainly aren't.
Well, we'll talk about all of this. It's officially the start of the rest of the summer today because we have a day without basketball. We have a day without hockey. We have a day with only baseball. Now, there's some tennis. Don't get me wrong. And there's some college baseball, and that's fine. But, we'll have over the next 2 hours NBA Finals talk, Stanley Cup talk. We'll set it all up. But right now, when you focus on the baseball, we're going to start talking about who's buyers and sellers in June.
Yeah.
We're already talking about the Mets being sellers. Like, it's going bad. And like when I used to work in the book, who you're going to go in and have to root for. Literally, the Mets are on the list every single day. You're going to need the Mets as a book, every day. You're like, boy, can the Mets win a game? Can they keep a game under? Ever. I mean, like, people just automatic start betting the game's over because they give up the runs and they play against them. So, not a good inning there for the Mets backers. I don't know. The other one I looked at today, like, that's underway now. Texas and the Tigers coming up. That's another one. Scooble. All you hear is the buzz about the Scooble. All right. Mm-hmm. I think people were kind of forgetting, wow, the computer really put this one high. 59% to win. The game's a dead pick 'em. I feel a little more comfortable if the computer made this about a 52% pick. But people love Scooble. I got guys that have him to win the Cy Young. I met a guy today in the book that had his season wins over 8 before the season. Ooh. He has 7. He's going to be cashing that by the end of this week, depending how the game goes tonight. Did you like either side in that game?
I like Scooble. He was a very popular fantasy pick too. A lot of guys were expecting big season from him. Finally healthy, and they were expecting some good things. And let's face it, obviously healthy, and he is no joke. The only question with him or anybody in Detroit is, can that lineup provide enough offense in order to give guys, some run support? And that's going to be the biggest question always here, because he can certainly limit the best batters on the opposing lineup, but that's not the problem. The problem is, can Detroit get enough done? I mean, Eovaldi, his first game back off the IL last time out last week, he was pretty darn good here. I mean, they're just trying to hold on until Scherzer can come back, possibly DeGrom, Tyler Miles in that, Evan Carter, Josh. I mean, they got a ton of guys that they're hoping will be back here by the time the summer rolls around and ready to go in August. In the meantime, the Tigers are just trying to string enough wins together. And that was a pretty trendy pick, Dave, with, possibly winning the division. It was definitely wins over this year. Their best hitter is on the IL. So that's going to be a problem from them moving forward. But I do like Skubal, do like Flaherty. They got some really nice pieces. They just can't be trusted against any front-end starter here. And I don't know if you consider Eovaldi a front-end starter, is he?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I think that's the TBD, right? That's to be determined. Yep. I don't know. When they come back right away, I think you see the line. Like we used to talk about this when a guy would come back off the IL now. You didn't know where to value them as far as where they were from before. The second start will tell the story. And you kind of go, okay. When you see this, you look across the board on the odds screen, it's a dead pick'em. I mean, it's literally a dead pick'em. So I think we see some caution from the books, and we'll let the market and the bettors tell them, okay, we're going to bet Detroit and Skubal tonight. We'll see.
Yep. The Rangers, not exactly great against left-handed pitching so far this season. We'll see how good they are here tonight. We'll get you updated on all of it, though, when In-Game Live Primetime continues here on the Grid.
The Warriors learn some of that split action that they run offensively and bring it to your own team. Folks, the name is Kenny Atkinson. Every time there is a job with a young core that needs to take the next step, I always think of Kenny Atkinson.
Only on SportsGrid.
The numbers might look crazy, especially depending on where you think Jared Goff falls in the National Football League. I would consider him, maybe as crazy as this sounds, a top 10 quarterback.
And again, the theory behind paying your quarterbacks and your top-rated players, pay them earlier. The longer you wait, it only costs you money. If you have a top-flight wide receiver, pay him here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. To your quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 years, 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Using the parlays against one another, right, and being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back In-Game Live Primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan. Couple of updates for you here in Major League Baseball, including the Mets. This is going to be one of those games here. They've got a couple of runners on scoring position here, top of the 5th inning after giving up a absolute bomb to Joey Gallo there in the bottom of the 4th. Nats up 4-3. We do have the Orioles continuing to hit home runs off of Gausman like he's throwing batting practice, mostly because he is. 5-2 right now. They are still bottom of the 4th. And we've got the Tigers and Rangers underway with Evaldi and Skubal we'll keep an eye on. And the Cardinals have already scored a run off of Verlander.
There we go.
I believe Burleson, right off the bat, has taken him yards. So that didn't take long there, Dave. Cardinals 1, Astros nothing, top of the first. They kind of did the same thing last night to Philadelphia. They got out in front, and they let Philadelphia get back in, but ultimately in extra innings, they were able to get it done. I mean, pretty impressive so far for the Cardinals.
Probably multiple opportunities to take a run and a half with both sides of this game and try to middle it on a one runner.
Yep.
You know, this is where the team scores in the first inning, you'll see the number move drastically. And it's like, wait a second, hold on. I used to look at this. I still look at this when we do the shows. I did it when I was in the room and say, you guys are – nothing really should change, even with the first inning run, but the line changes. So you can grab the home team at a much better price if you like them. Again, we talked about it was way overvalued before. It's not going to be overvalued trailing 1-0. Do it before they come in to hit and hope they only give up one. You'll get a really good price. Joe, we got to talk about the hockey because, you know, Edmonton closed out Dallas yesterday, and everybody's talking about Canada and they might win a Stanley Cup. It's been a long time since a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup. 1993, the Montreal Canadiens did it. I was actually in Edmonton for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup last time they were in it at Rexall Place against Carolina. It was fantastic, almost like a life-changing experience for a hockey fan like me, kid who played the game from the time I was 4 years old. I got to go see the Mecca. Joe, did you see the line? I mean, you were at the game Saturday night. You saw it. You got to feel it. One, how great was the game Saturday night? And two, is everybody – I mean, I heard the chants through the TV, Joe. We want the cup. They were serious. They didn't touch the trophy. And were you chanting, we want the cup on Saturday night?
I was actually chanting in my cup. I can't remember what it was, but there was actually a few cups there that night as we were celebrating. But I can tell you this, it was Ranger fans were well represented in the house there. They weren't very happy, but it just it feels very... It was very business-like with this Panthers team, and I was there a year ago on the way to the final. I was at one of the finals games there against Vegas, and it felt a lot different, right? Even in the stands, they had a lot of big eyes. You know, I can't believe we're in the finals kind of thing, and everyone was happy just to be there and hope nobody else got hurt, right? And that is not what this team is all about this year. This team had one mission and one mission only all year, and they carried themselves all throughout the season as well as the playoffs. There was not very little celebrating, not like there was last year, you know, when they were total underdogs. They have really embraced the favorite role here because their expectation is they're going to win. And you saw it. I mean, that was not the crowd was crazy, but the actual players were very businesslike after that was over. Great. We won the game. We're going back exactly what we wanted to do. And the job is not done yet. A year ago, they were just they were living it up, having a good time. Can't believe they actually made it to the finals. So they are opening up right now as that small favorite, which is minus 125, somewhere along those lines. But I'm going to find it interesting because Edmonton was about 8-1 preseason to win it all. They were pretty much a second choice before the season started. I mean, everyone has loved Edmonton all year long. Draisaitl and Connor McDavid and yada yada. I mean, it's like nobody's going to beat that. Well, all right, they got it, but they still got Skinner in goal. He's been phenomenal, but is he going to be able to keep that up is going to be the big question.
That's the question of the whole series. And you see the price. I think it's a fair price. If Florida at minus 140 to win game 1, 5.5's the total. How does this game get played? I think what Edmonton figured out in the Dallas series was they got to play the game to the under, and Skinner stepped up and covered it. We got Connor McDavid. We got the best player in the game. Now, Florida, I would argue, much deeper, very strong defensively. With the last change, they're going to set up all the right matchups against that line. Now, you saw guys like Hyman and Nugent Hopkins step up for the Oilers, have great series. I think we're going to get a very entertaining series. I hope mainstream media watches it, enjoys it. I think we're going to get a really good Stanley Cup Finals. Now, it might be one of those where we get the home team wins the first 4 games and we get back to Florida 2-2. Joe, have you heard how far apart these two cities are? This is the longest distance that the two teams will travel ever for the Stanley Cup Finals. It's been nonstop talk about that. We're talking more about how far along the flight is.
Matt Brault and I on Saturday on InGame Live All Access before the game we were trying to figure out what exactly the frequent flyer miles were. If you left Miami on an airplane and had to go to Edmonton to come back to Florida to watch these games, and 8-hour flights over 3,000 miles each way. You can rack up some frequent flyer miles in this trip here, but question is it going to be good? Really?
The Warriors learn some of that split action that they run offensively and bring it to your own team. Folks, the name is Kenny Atkinson. Every time there is a job with a young core that needs to take the next step, I always think of Kenny Atkinson.
Only on SportsGrid.
The numbers might look crazy, especially depending on where you think Jared Goff falls in the National Football League. I would consider him, maybe as crazy as this sounds, a top 10 quarterback.
And again, the theory behind paying your quarterbacks and your top-rated players, pay them earlier. The longer you wait, it only costs you money. If you have a top-flight wide receiver, pay him here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. It's your quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, and we are PrimeTime here on this June 3rd. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan. I don't know what it is. Apparently, the Mets do not like us bashing them here, Dave, as they have now put up a 4 spot in the bottom of the top of the 5th inning here. It is now 7-4. The Mets here, as they have the couple of key hits here. They've already gone to the bullpen. Gore out 4 1/3, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, but 4 walks. Just awful there. And McGill still in for the New York Mets. So the longer he can stay in, the less that bullpen gets involved, the better off it is for the Mets. Now, if they only, I figure in my calculations, Dave, they just need another 9 runs before they go to the bullpen. And I think if they get 16 tonight, the bullpen should be safe to save this game and not actually blow the lead. That's what I'm thinking here. So my hope is that 9 more runs before McGill's got to go out, and they should be fine. I'd be confident then backing the Mets here with the bullpen in.
Joe, I feel bad even talking about the Mets because the Yankees are off. The Rangers are done. Some guys just wanted to take their dads to the game and just go see the Rangers play in the Stanley Cup. I don't want to blast the Mets anymore and talk about how bad their bullpen is and how they can't hold leads. Like, we already got the game to go over. Isn't that enough? Just let it go. Just let it go.
Listen.
Talk about the games coming up, the Reds and the Rockies. Did you have an opinion about that game? I did my homework today on that game. There's a lot of talking points. I mean, this thing is picking the Reds to win at 61%, and I know why. The Reds are getting a little bit hot. They won 6 of their last 9, took 2 or 3 in Wrigley. They can't score, though. All right? They're the only team averaging less runs than them, the White Sox. Okay? That's 2.9 runs a game. The Reds are 3.2 since the start of May. And Ellie De La Cruz, complete slump. Hitless in his last 15. He's 7 for his last 60, Joe. That's a 117 batting average. 2 RBIs, 28 strikeouts in his last 15. So why in the world would you back the Reds, Dave? Why would you wear the Reds stuff? Why do you think the Reds are going to win? I said, all right, we'll take a look and try to find something. Ryan Feltner, 0-3, 6.23 ERA in his last 8 starts. The Rockies have lost 6 of those 8. How's that for you, Joe? I'm backing Abbott, who got crushed. How do you feel when a starter got blasted? He celebrated his 25th birthday Saturday. He lost to the Cardinals last Tuesday, allowed a season-high 6 runs in 6 innings. That was his last start. How do you like going on that guy on his next start?
I think Feltner is much better than the results have shown. And he's been a little bit unlucky so far this year because his underlying numbers should be telling us he should have had a better fate here. I mean, he is striking out more than he is walking here, which is always a good stuff. Never easy to pitch in Colorado, but I think you nailed it there. What if I can't trust Cincinnati to score, and I got a guy that is got better metrics than the record shows it is? What in the only place we can bet Colorado is home, isn't it? Why in the world? I can't trust Cincinnati to score enough runs here. Not to mention Colorado, by the way, for the record, over the last decade, has been the single most profitable home underdog in all of Major League Baseball. We're talking 615 games, and this team has been nothing but money as a home underdog. They play better at home. Abbott's going to shut them down? Okay.
So the Rockies are a game under 500 at home, 13-14. They're 8-23 on the road. Okay, drastic splits, big difference, and they won 8 of their last 10 in Denver. So they've won series versus the Rangers, the Phillies, and the Guardians in that stretch. They've been much better at home, but we got to give the people something. We're giving them the information. You pick. I'm leaning Abbott in the Reds.
Oof. They're also a better defensive team, too, by the way. So they give them some credit here. And to be that profitable over a decade as a home dog, it ain't the Yankees, it's the Reds. My goodness. We'll talk more about that and an update here in some of these games when we get back in game live primetime on the grid.
the Warriors learn some of that split action that they run offensively and bring it to your own team. Folks, the name is Kenny Atkinson. Every time there is a job with a young core that needs to take the next step, I always think of Kenny Atkinson.
Only on SportsGrid.
The numbers might look crazy, especially depending on where you think Jared Goff falls in the National Football League. I would consider him, maybe as crazy as this sounds, a top 10 quarterback.
And again, the theory behind paying your quarterbacks and your top-rated players, pay them earlier. The longer you wait, it only costs you money. If you have a top-flight wide receiver, pay him here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. To your quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 years, 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, and we are primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. Guess who's... I don't know what the over was in this game and why we're not betting it, but it's bottom of the fifth, 7-4, Mets on top, but once again, second and third here for Washington. They're not done scoring yet either. This could be a 20-run game before it is all said and done, and we're only in the bottom of the fifth inning with the Nats. We are underway, and the Cardinals did add a second run there in the top of the second, so it's 2-0 now over the Astros. And boy, oh boy, like we said, Dave, I mean, anybody who thought Verlander was the Verlander of old, he has not shown that. It has been a slow grind. Is not a lot of movement. The velocity is still a tick or two down. But my goodness, 2 hits, 2 earned runs already. And when Verlander's giving up long balls, yeesh. But kudos to St. Louis. Gibson, by the way, he's a gas can waiting to happen. The question is, can the Astros score enough here to give Verlander a cushion? That's going to be the big question.
I love that term. It's so bad
he is,
when you're termed that as a pitcher, the gas can term. But just for comparison prices, right? The Phillies with Wheeler were minus 190 at home against the Brewers, who named a starter 2.5 hours before the game. The Astros at home were the same price against the Cardinals with Gibson pitching. Now they were on the travel, so that's probably had to make that line a little bit higher, especially when you know everybody's going to bet against them. But just always look at that. Like when you're trying to determine value and games to look at and games to bet on, I don't know if one's undervalued, one's overvalued, but, you know, you can compare and shop prices. And which one do you feel better about laying 190? A big hoss like, Zach Wheeler? Or maybe with the Astros and Verlander, it's such a big factor, the starting pitching and stuff like that. So it's good. I mean, that's baseball, bro. I mean, we talk about it every day. We'll talk about it for the rest of the summer. We'll be doing the shows. But we're doing the show live, in-game live primetime is going to be on Thursday, Joe. And we're going to be talking game 1 of the NBA Finals. Not the hockey, Vinny. I tried to lead you to the basketball. We got to do the basketball. Look at this thing. Joe, the line hasn't moved. We got 6.5. It's just sitting there. Why is nobody taking the Mavericks in game 1?
I think they are, aren't they? There's just not enough. Not the big bettors aren't taking Dallas. The smaller bettors are taking Dallas. And that's not really enough to move the needle here, except for one way. In fact, I will say, though, it is kind of lopsided because I'm seeing in a lot of spots, we're looking 70% tickets towards Dallas, 30% towards Boston. But and it's only because it's that lopsided in which this thing has not gone to 7.5 yet, because there is certainly the volume on the Dallas Mavericks, but the volume in the money appears to be on the Boston Celtics here still. The total is what's going to fascinate me, because how much that ain't moving either. And there is a lot more talk about the over, and I thought for sure this would have already creeped up here, Dave, but it's locked at 214, 214.5. So that tells me maybe some of the bigger bets are on the under, keeping this thing pretty steady right now. But the reality is this is going to, I was having this conversation earlier with our producer there, Pat Foster. There are much more fair weather Dallas bettors in the market than Boston. Boston, it's going to be do or die. They don't care if they win, they lose. The Boston money is going to be there. They're not going to hop off and back Dallas. So Boston money is in it for the long haul here. I am going to be interested to see what happens to the Dallas side when, let's say, they lose game 1. Then you know how that works. All of a sudden, maybe Luke is not as good and Kyrie can't play back in Boston, yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden, more money comes in on Boston. I do think it's going to be that way back and forth for the series, but I do think Dallas money could very easily be swayed away from backing Dallas here after a game or two.
As the book, you sit there, you put this line up, and it's been sitting there for basically 3 days since the series ended when Dallas took care of Minnesota. And there's talking points. I mean, there's things. I mean, this means a lot for Boston. You know, it is going to be Tatum and Brown's first championship. The Celtics win league-leading 18th championship. There it is for everybody to see. It's annoying, Joe, for a lot of people who don't like Boston. They don't want to see Boston win. So they're looking to bet Dallas. I think the regular guy, a lot of people on the street, want to see Luka win a championship. I mean, for Dallas, it would be their second franchise title ever. It would be Luka's first, Kyrie's second. And this would be a cool thing for Jason Kidd, who would win the title as a Mavs player and a coach. So I think there's reasons why you could make a case for both sides. But then when it comes to Thursday, we're watching the game. We're talking about it in game. Boston can't fall behind like they did against Indiana, because Dallas will continue to score and most likely play better defense. Indiana gave away 2 games. And even Celtics fans through and through, like Foster and like Peralt and all these other Boston guys that are coming out of the woodwork now, they'll tell you that it would have been fair 2-2. All right, it would have been Indiana should have won 2 of those first 4 games. Doesn't mean Boston's not going to win the championship. I just need to know which way are they going to win game 1, because that minus 220 series price is basically going to double. If Boston wins and covers, we're looking at close to $4. I mean, even with a win, it's minus 350. So the line's 6.5. And I think bad guys are waiting to take 7. They're definitely waiting to take 7.5. I know that. So the books are playing chicken right now. It'll be fun. I think. Do we get a long series, Joe?
I don't see how we don't. I do think this is going to go. I already bet over 5.5. So I bet over 5.5 games. I've already bet Dallas plus 1.5. I do think this is going 6-7 games at the very least here. And I do think there is going to be, depending on who wins game one, a drastic overreaction like there usually is in the NBA for game two. So it's going to be interesting depending on who wins and who loses game one. The overreaction will be huge for game two. But again, we should point out there is a huge difference from winning this series in the championship and covering the spreads. Because these kinds of spreads right now for a team that went 12-2 straight up in the playoffs so far, and that's what the Celtics have done. I mean, 12-2, congratulations. But you're 7-7 against the number with a negative spread differential at the end of the day. So you are burning money as a big favorite, especially at home during these playoffs. You are not someone to be trusted laying 6, 7, 8 points with anybody as far as I'm concerned. It's nice you won the close games in the fourth quarter against Indiana because you've been known to blow those. But how does that help me if I'm laying 7, 8 points with you in a championship game? It won't. So I would pump the brakes. They can win, absolutely. But covering in a 6-7 game series could be some money to be made going against Boston in this series. Just on the spread, though. Doesn't have to be for the series. We'll have more on that when we get back. In-game live prime time.
The Warriors learn some of that split action that they run offensively and bring it to your own team. Folks, the name is Kenny Atkinson. Every time there is a job with a young core that needs to take the next step, I always think of Kenny Atkinson.
Only on SportsGrid.
The numbers might look crazy, especially depending on where you think Jared Goff falls in the National Football League. I would consider him, maybe as crazy as this sounds, a top 10 quarterback.
And again, the theory behind paying your quarterbacks and your top-rated players, pay them earlier. The longer you wait, it only costs you money. If you have a top-flight wide receiver, pay him here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. Took a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, tag another one on. It's Home Run City here on a Monday. Welcome back in-game live prime time here on the Sports Grid Network. Baltimore with another home run, up 6-2 now in Toronto. And Detroit with the long ball to even up with Texas. 1-1 in that game. We're waiting until they hit the 20-run mark with the Mets and the Nats. Then we'll jump in on an over. But before then, we welcome in George Kurtz here because we got a lot going on here this week. Besides Major League Baseball here tonight, Kurtz, we got a bunch of NHL opportunities to jump into before they kick off on game one. So what did you think of a team that won a game and advances to the Stanley Cup with only 10 shots on goal? How does that work exactly, Curtis?
Listen, we all know in the NHL, a goalie can steal a game, and Skinner stole the game. There's no other way of saying it, right? Other than that, Edmonton, were they sitting back? I guess sort of. Dallas really took it to them. I think Robertson had more shots on goal than the entire Oilers team there. And guys, I got to ask, when was the last time we saw a team do a complete 180 in the playoffs from the type of team they are? Yeah. Oilers played wide open most of the season, right? Wide open hockey. They are over special. In-game over, pre-game over, post-game over. And yet, somewhere during that Vancouver series, they just played differently. Also, they learned how to play defense. They're not letting up power play goals. And I don't know if we've seen this in any sport, by the way. NBA, MLB, NFL, where a team just changes what their identity is. All right, so it's been extremely impressive what they've done here. So surprised. But I think last night I just took it down last night that Skinner stole that game.
He stole it, but at the same time, don't forget games 3 and 4 in Edmonton both went over the total, and they were both wide open games. Looked a lot different than games 5 and 6. So whatever he figured out, he figured out. Edmonton proved that they can play under games. They did it and won. But, George, look at the series price. This is Joe was at the game on Saturday night down in Miami. It's a dead pick'em series. Slight favorite to the home ice team. So I think there's a lot of backing for Edmonton. I think there's a lot of not just public perception. I think there's a lot of respected people. Plus, I know there's people that are holding Edmonton to win it all tickets at 15-1, 20-1. When they were down to Vancouver, there was people out grabbing them. I'm not saying I was, but I might have been. Can Edmonton win this series? And if it's going 6 or 7 games?
Can they win? Yeah. I don't think this is a done all in Florida's favor here. Now, I think Florida is going to win, but I'm going to go 7 games here. So once again, a little puck luck here. It can certainly go their way. I don't trust either goaltender. I don't care if Skinner stole game 6. I don't trust them. Don't trust Bobrovsky either. Which lets you know, by the way, I'm going to be taking more overs than unders here. The Oilers, we know they have a great power play, but the Panthers, second best penalty kill. So immovable object, irresistible force, what gives there? Will they be calling a lot of penalties in the Stanley Cup Finals? Or the refs say, now you're going to decide on the ice. We're going to let you play here. What kind of series will it be? Are the Oilers going to try and open things up here? Or are Florida going to be able to keep them in check here and play that grinding type of series that they like here? So I think it's going to be very curious to see how it goes here. Florida has the experience. They were there last year. They're the home ice team. So I think, once again, I would make them a slight favorite as well. I think they're the better overall team. But if we get this Edmonton team that showed up against Dallas, that was deeper than we thought, that plays defense, where Skinner, I don't need Skinner to be great, just where he's not inconsistent, then I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Oilers are the first Canadian team to win a Stanley Cup since 1993, which we're going to hear 10,000 times this week.
Yeah.
It's interesting, too, because we have Oilers, who many consider to be, the best power play team in the NHL. Rangers were pretty good, too. Only the Rangers couldn't score against the penalty kill here, and the Oilers killed, 29 straight penalties. So if the special teams ain't going to get it done as they cancel each other out, what are we getting 5-on-5 here?
I think that's fair. That's where the game. That's probably where the game will be decided, because I think I don't think the refs are going to call a ton of penalties. I just don't. All right. And Florida, they seem to know where that line is, right? I think we saw that in the Boston series, where they know where they toe the line of them playing tough to playing dirty. They know how not to push over that line here. So I don't think we're going to see a ton of penalties here. I think the refs are going to let them play to some degree here. So I don't think, what I'm trying to say is, I don't think power plays are going to decide this. I just don't. I wouldn't be banking on that too much. If I thought power plays were going to be prevalent here, I'd have a lot more money on the over. Because I think that would definitely play to that here. 5-on-5 should benefit Florida. All right, it just should. They're that grinded out team. They can roll more lines at you. I wonder if Edmonton, are they going to go to power line, put McDavid and Draisaitl on one line, separate them, try and spread the offense out a little bit. So I think that's going to be key there as well. And where's the secondary scoring come from? We know McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, they can score. Where's that secondary? Is Evander Kane going to wake up? Is it going to be a Tarasenko? Florida has more of those types of guys. You know, those lesser guys that could score some goals here. I think Florida's deeper. I think their defense is good. Bouchard's been fantastic for Edmonton. And really, if Edmonton were to win the Cup, Bouchard really should win Conn Smythe. He won't, but he should. But Gustav Forsling can almost say the same thing for the Florida Panthers. He's been that good.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a good, fun, long series here. I think it depends on which team sort of pushes their will. Do we get more wide open? Do we get more defensive grinding style for Florida?
Speaking of good, the Yankees are not only good, they got the best record in baseball. And I know you were up late while they were on the West Coast, just winning games, sweeping the Giants. MLB tonight, there's a bunch of games coming up. Not a bunch. There's only left. You got a best bet or anything for baseball? Could be the Reds. Anything you want to talk about right now before we get out of here?
Well, the Yankees were 7-2 on their West Coast trip. Best West Coast trip for the Yankees since 1998, by the way, of at least 9 games. So there's that for Yankees playing so well here. I think it will come back to normal. They play with Dodgers over the weekend. That's going to be fun, right? Yankee Stadium here. Best bet for the night would be the Reds. I don't love it, by the way, but I'll take Abbott going for Cincinnati there. I'm going to be on a couple of smaller plays on the other games as well, but I don't love anything tonight, not the late games here tonight. I'm going to go with the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's probably my second favorite bet.
Oh, Reds, Diamondbacks here. Chalk, as usual. Wouldn't have expected. I could have told you, Sharapan, what those bets were going to be here. Again,
Let it go.
The chalk is what it is. Kurtz, we love you. Best of luck. Cash those tickets. In-game live. Prime time next.
The Warriors learn some of that split action that they run offensively and bring it to your own team. Folks, the name is Kenny Atkinson. Every time there is a job with a young core that needs to take the next step, I always think of Kenny Atkinson.
Only on SportsGrid.
The numbers might look crazy, especially depending on where you think Jared Goff falls in the National Football League. I would consider him, maybe as crazy as this sounds, a top 10 quarterback.
And again, the theory behind paying your quarterbacks and your top-rated players, pay them earlier. The longer you wait, it only costs you money. If you have a top-flight wide receiver, pay him here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. Took your quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 years, 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live primetime here on the SportsGrid Network as we keep an eye here on the Major League Baseball slate that remains. We did have one final here as the Phillies closed out the Brewers. 3-1 will be your final there. Wheeler getting it done for the Phillies, bouncing back after an extra inning loss last night against the Cards. The Mets holding on 8-5 in the bottom of the 6th against the Nats. And, good pitchers battle now that I've seen a couple of innings of this between the Tigers and the Rangers. A couple of long balls early, but Eovaldi and Skubal turn out to be a pretty good battle. Not so much for the Blue Jays, who continue to give up the long ball. The Orioles keep hitting home runs, 6-2 in that one. And wouldn't you know it, Abbott has already given up a run in the bottom of the first to the Rockies off a couple of hits. It is 1-0 early in that. And at what point do we jump in on the Astros here, Dick? They're home. It's 2-0. I don't trust the Cardinals late here, especially given the bullpen and the extra innings last night, which means they're going to have to rely on Gibson to go longer. That's a recipe for disaster here. Feels like maybe the Astros at plus money are not a bad look at this point.
I'd rather take them plus a run and a half plus money, which you can do right now, right? So that way you don't have to worry about them coming all the way back and winning, just getting a couple runs and keeping it close, losing by one. Minus 190 to plus a run and a half plus money in a matter of an inning, that's probably a pretty good play. But I don't want, I mean, again, we talked about it before. I'm not ready to say just because they're down. Now I like the Astros. They may not be done scoring.
Price of the Astros. Yeah, maybe I should I like the price of them now. I didn't like them as a minus 170 favorite to begin with, but plus money. Only down 2 because, again, the Cardinals' bullpen is taxed, right? And we're seeing a lot of that here tonight, by the way. A lot of teams that are going to have to go a little bit longer with starters, given how much work the bullpens have gotten over the weekend here. A lot of extra inning games, a lot of starting pitchers going down quickly, including the Phillies. I mean, they had to scramble once Suarez got knocked out early, and so did the Diamondbacks, who are coming up here against the Giants. And you were leaning Diamondbacks in that game?
Hold on, I got my notes here. I didn't really look too much at that other than the under. Under is what I have written down.
Okay, the under.
Yeah.
We'll take what was it?
Further look at that. The Giants it says here, I got my notes. The Giants are likely to have a bullpen game on Monday.
Yeah, it is.
I hate
Miller.
I hate the bullpen games, and I hate betting on the team that the bullpen game is for. But a lot of times that means you get a guy to go 1 or 2 innings. They already know. You get them lower scoring games. I don't know. Again, when you look at these things before, you can have this plan. The only plan for me was under because I don't know who's all pitching. I don't know what the schedule of events are. So, yeah, no, my favorite game later is the Padres over the Angels, Waldron. But that game to probably go under as well, the way that Waldron's pitched. Let me see, 10 consecutive scoreless innings. That's 7 scoreless frames in his last start over Miami Tuesday, 8 Ks, no walks. Pretty good stuff. Which, we'll look at. We got an hour left of the show. We got Cam coming on in the back end. Are you ready to talk NFL? Like, are you ready to start talking? This is what's going to happen. There's things that happen during the day. We're going to talk about football. I don't know, Joe. It's early, isn't it? I mean, it's just heating up. You still live in a place where they're playing hockey. It's time.
Yeah.
We got to start talking
that is the truth. It's a good point. It's never too early to talk anything football for that matter. But I do want to retract everything I said about backing the Astros just a couple minutes ago. That is off the table as they have just given up yet another run and are about to give up a couple of more here. Second and third, 2 outs now. Top of the third. Verlander can't get anybody out, nor can he actually find the plate or get the ball past anybody. So the Astros might be in trouble here. In game number 9.5. They are getting 2.5 runs right now, which might not be a bad look, but Verlander is going through it, people, right now. So we'll keep you posted on that one. We got a whole nother hour coming your way as In-Game Live Primetime will continue here next on the Grid.
the Warriors learn some of that split action that they run offensively and bring it to your own team. Folks, the name is Kenny Atkinson. Every time there is a job with a young core that needs to take the next step, I always think of Kenny Atkinson.
Only on SportsGrid.
The numbers might look crazy, especially depending on where you think Jared Goff falls in the National Football League. I would consider him, maybe as crazy as this sounds, a top 10 quarterback.
And again, the theory behind paying your quarterbacks and your top-rated players, pay them earlier. The longer you wait, it only costs you money. If you have a top-flight wide receiver, pay him here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. It's your quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 years, 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in, off and running another hour here of in-game live primetime on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan as we are keeping our eyes on a few of these Major League Baseball games underway. We still got a couple late games happening here, but we do know that the Reds have looked to tie it up here 1-1 against the Rockies, top of the second. The Cardinals have put up 3 runs quickly against Verlander in the bottom of the third now, and the bullpen is coming in, Dave, it looks like, for the Astros. Verlander in trouble once again, but we do have the Padres and the Angels coming up bottom of the hour, as well as the Giants and the D-backs for a little late night baseball here. So we've got a little something for everyone. And including, and I believe the Rangers are threatening right now, and what was a heck of a pitcher's battle going on between Eovaldi and Skubal, who, by the way, you see the odds for him for a Cy Young already? I mean, we're talking about a team that's 29-30, and the Cy Young odds for him are ridiculously cheap right now, and I can't blame him because the guy has been absolute money. And he's probably going to lose a few more games that he should probably win because his offense is terrible in Detroit. But if he keeps pitching along this way, that tells me there's a lot of people betting and holding tickets on Skubal to be the Cy Young Award winner 2 months into the season. That is a risky bet, Dave. Isn't it already 2 months into the season?
Without a doubt. And for somebody that's had some injury history and is on a team that may not make the playoffs, more likely than not.
Yep.
You know, they're right there. The division is still – I mean, there's teams playing above expectations. Cleveland's amazing. The Twins are right there. The Royals have been great. And then you get to Detroit. So, I don't know. It's one of those things that a lot of people were on them fantasy-wise, wins-wise, Cy Young, all that other stuff. I mean – as a short price, you see why people bet them, which Detroit was tonight.
Yep.
So that's one of those things that I think it's a worthy discussion and will continue to be throughout the summer. This is another discussion we have to have, though, Joe. Did you see the Vikings and the move they made today? I mean, they gave this JJ, a gigantic bag, a wide receiver, Joe. It's right there. Are you good with this? Are you good with him getting a record deal? Justin Jefferson, 4 years, $140 million contract extension, all that money guaranteed. He's still got a rookie quarterback playing quarterback, Joe.
No, not the rookie. He's going to have Sam Darnold throwing him the ball. I mean, what it does not get any better than that, man. I mean, I'm almost thankful Sam Darnold was finally signed for a ham sandwich and a bowl of soup because he needs somebody with some experience there at $140 million. And the problem is when you spend $140 million on a wide receiver, the only thing you can afford is players that will sign for a ham sandwich and a bowl of soup. So I think this is going to go swimmingly. I mean, what could possibly go wrong as you can't afford any of the other pieces you need to actually win anything in a division that's gotten better around you, by the way. So, and listen, what's your choice? He turned down $28 million last year before the season started. He turned it down. He took a big gamble on himself, and now he's got $35 million a year guaranteed. So kudos to him. I don't know what choice Minnesota had, except for the fact that most teams that spend this kind of money, the richest contract for a non-quarterback in the history of the NFL, that leads to one thing, and it's not winning Super Bowls. So congratulations. But you do got a great, overpriced wide receiver. Hope that settles in for Minnesota well.
It's one of those things that, when you're sitting in a book, and you're in a risk room or you're on the other side of the counter and you go, someone will come up and bet the Vikings because of this. This doesn't move the number. None of this stuff moves the number. And you have to think, all right, the way the game's played now, you need wide receivers, you need, playmakers, but you need someone to throw them the ball. They're only as good as the quarterback getting them the ball in the positions to be successful. So, I don't know. Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy, okay. This isn't I don't think none of this will go, okay, now Minnesota's going to go, 500? I mean, there is no more 500. You can't go 500 unless you get a tie in football because they got 17 games. But with their season wins, would you bet Minnesota over? I think if you ask people right now, Joe, if they're betting the Vikings season win total, they're betting under more than they're betting over. They're betting Bears over. That hype is real. The Lions, they're betting to win the Super Bowl, win the NFC. They're betting their season wins over. And the Packers are sneaky getting love in that division too. This might be, dare I say, one of the best divisions in football.
Not with them in it. It's not. They got a lot of issues going on there because again, there's going to be a lot of growing pains with that group. Still not completely sold. They need to add. They got to hope some of the pieces they went and got in the draft defensively come to fruition for them because they still got some issues on that side. Hawkinson got hurt again last year at the end of the year. I mean, they've got plenty of weapons, some real fun weapons. But to your point, who's getting those weapons the ball? I love this team, and I think Kirk Cousins is probably kicking himself going, why didn't I just stay and hang out here? And I would have had a lot more fun than having to look over my shoulder in Atlanta right now, which is going to be an absolute debacle. But if Kirk Cousins was there and you could afford $140 million for him, I'd say, well, your window is, you got a window of opportunity here to make some noise. But with a rookie quarterback who most people think shouldn't have been drafted anywhere near the first round anyway, and Sam Darnold is the guy that's going to mentor him. I think Jefferson, for that kind of money, should also play quarterback and throw himself the ball, Dave. I think maybe that's the best chance that Minnesota is going to have of winning anything in that division. Just saying. For $140 million, he should be able to throw himself the ball, quite honestly, because what other choice do they have here? Who are they going to beat in that division?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's the problem.
But,
not because they
the end of
signed
an era,
him.
too.
Yeah.
This Waller guy's retiring. This has been reported today. Shefty reported this. Waller's retiring. Is this a big deal to you? I don't know. But apparently this is a big deal. Giants tight end, Darren Waller, make a decision by next week's mandatory minicamp, and they figure he's going to retire. Does this affect the Giants' number? I mean, the Giants are scrambling for so many things. Now they don't even have a tight end. What in the world is going on with the Giants, Joe?
I thought he was retired. I'm sorry. I didn't even realize that now he's retired. So I thought he retired with the Raiders. Like, I had no idea he actually was playing anywhere else there. Boy, I tell you, like, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it. So he's going to retire. Did they really even have any sort of tight end, the Giants, in the first place? Because I wasn't he hurt for pretty much the bulk of the season there? So I don't. And if a guy ever tells you he's thinking about retiring, he's already retired. It's over at that point. So I don't blame him. Take your money and go, Darren Waller. You're a young dude, man. Enjoy yourself. Who wants to get hit and play with Danny Dimes trying to throw you the ball? That's just nothing good happens from that. Retire, Waller. Retire. We'll be back in-game live primetime next year on the Grid.
The Warriors learn some of that split action that they run offensively and bring it to your own team. Folks, the name is Kenny Atkinson. Every time there is a job with a young core that needs to take the next step, I always think of Kenny Atkinson.
Only on SportsGrid.
The numbers might look crazy, especially depending on where you think Jared Goff falls in the National Football League. I would consider him, maybe as crazy as this sounds, a top 10 quarterback.
And again, the theory behind paying your quarterbacks and your top-rated players, pay them earlier. The longer you wait, it only costs you money. If you have a top-flight wide receiver, pay him here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. To your quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 years, 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, and we are primetime here on the SportsGrid Network as getting ready just a couple of minutes away here from the 9:30 first pitch with the Angels at home taking on the Padres. Anderson on the mound for the Angels, in fact. They are a home dog. That's a shocker. But Waldron is going for the Padres, and if you haven't seen this guy pitch tonight, you don't have a lot of extra things going on tonight. Watch this kid. He's a young guy in his early 30s, who throws one of the best knuckleballs, and you don't see knuckleball pitchers very much anymore in Major League Baseball. But this guy has got a good one, which means he could probably spend the next 25 years pitching in Major League Baseball throwing this pitch. And usually don't see the younger guys throw this. It's usually the guys that start to get up there a little bit. Haven't seen knuckleballs, good ones, in a long, long time. But it's fun watching this guy throw and watching the hitters. I think he's going to have some success against the Angels here tonight. So I got no problem backing the Padres early in the first 5 in this one. But, Dave, this guy is actually much better than people give him credit for. And you got to love a 32-year-old throwing knuckleballs out there in Major League Baseball. You just don't see it anymore.
No, and this is one for all the kids, okay? The guys listening to the show, producing the show, sitting there sweating in-game totals for college baseball. College baseball is rad. The kids love it. But how about this, Joe? All right, I got this one from my buddies over at MLB Network again.
Ooh.
All right, Waldron has allowed 11 earned runs in the first inning, 10 earned runs in the second inning of his 11 starts this season, right? That's an 8.59 ERA in innings 1 and 2. He has a 1.54 ERA in all the other innings. So I know the kids love the Yurfie running the first inning. Yes. Okay. That's available. He has a 1.96 ERA in 4 starts since his May 5th start in Arizona, where he allowed all those runs. So Waldron's it. I like Waldron. I think.
I'm sorry, by the way,
win.
he's 27. I'm sorry, he's 27. And the guy is throwing a knuckleball. 40% of his pitches are actual knuckleballs here. And the thing with a knuckleball is that you just – and he just recently started throwing it. So the thing with knuckleball pitchers is sometimes they have trouble controlling it early, which would make total sense the first or second inning, maybe has a hard time locating it. But it's also a pitch that will absolutely get better as he gets older and the more he throws it. And the fact that he throws it 40% of the time, Dave, is actually pretty hilarious for a 27-year-old. But you know what? If I'm throwing knuckleballs and it's moving and I have a pretty good idea where it's going, it makes even a 90-mile-an-hour fastball look absolutely unhittable to hitters, which is what is so much fun about knuckleballers. And we just the Red Sox. Who was the Red Sox pitcher? It's the last guy I can think of that actually threw one that was part of that championship run there in the early 2000s. Wakeman, that was it. Yep, Wakeman was it. Yep, that was phenomenal. And I don't remember anybody since.
Yeah, not that just was focused on knuckleball. I mean, we go way back in the Negroes and all this other stuff. There were knuckleball only pitchers, but Wakefield was the last one I think that was exclusive to the whole thing. Yeah. How about this one, Joe? This is great too. Padres have played the 4th toughest schedule to date among National League teams. Okay, but now this series starts 13 consecutive games against teams under 500. So this might be a time to start getting behind the Padres. You get a short price. Now, we've seen somebody move this number already. They're 19-11 on the road this season. That's the 3rd best in baseball behind 2 American League teams. You know who has a better record than 19-11? In 2 American League teams, I'll give you 2 guesses. If you don't get it, I'll be disappointed. It's pretty obvious who the 2 best road teams in baseball in the American League are. Who do you think they are?
Gee, I mean, I would guess they're both from the same division. Is that fair?
There you go.
There you go. So I would think one just made a very nice play here against Toronto, and this game is almost over here. I'm guessing Baltimore is one, and I guess the other one's not playing tonight, and that would be the Yankees. That's how I would go with that. Am I close?
That sounds like a baseball guy right there. I love that. Look at that American League East odds. 2 teams at the top of that board. That's the 2 best road teams in the American League. the two best road teams in baseball. Okay, those two teams. I don't want to say it's over. I mean, but those odds tell you that a lot of people are thinking that the American League East is done. It's not done. They got a lot of games left against each other. But man, both of those teams are making the playoffs. When you win on the road in April and May, that kind of carries over into the summer. Things are going to heat up, and we'll see. So,
I don't sleep on the Padres. I mean, they're stuck behind the Dodgers, and that's obviously that number is going to be astronomical. But they're certainly good enough to make the wild card spot in the National League. I mean, when you look at that lineup, Dave, whether it's Kim, whether it's Tatis, whether it's, I mean, they've got big name guys in that lineup that when they all finally put it together, this is a team that can hit. Unfortunately, Musgrove just went down again. Darvish is down. They got to figure some things out. But I like this kid, Waldron. He is the kind of guy that if he really starts to grasp this whole knuckle thing, in fact, his strikeout prop tonight is 4.5. He has gone over this in 7 of his 11 starts, including his last 4. Might be worth taking a look because I do not trust the Angels, who strike out an immense amount of times here, maybe an over on his K prop. Waldron tonight should be fun watching that go down. All right, we got updates here. The Astros, believe it or not, have gotten right back into this game. We'll talk about that, and we'll get ready, of course. Detroit and Texas turning out to be a pretty good one, too. We'll have all the updates on that as in-game live prime time continues here on the Grid.
The Warriors learn some of that split action that they run offensively and bring it to your own team. Folks, the name is Kenny Atkinson. Every time there is a job with a young core that needs to take the next step, I always think of Kenny Atkinson.
Only on SportsGrid.
The numbers might look crazy, especially depending on where you think Jared Goff falls in the National Football League. I would consider him, maybe as crazy as this sounds, a top 10 quarterback.
And again, the theory behind paying your quarterbacks and your top-rated players, pay them earlier. The longer you wait, it only costs you money. If you have a top-flight wide receiver, pay him here.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. To your quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, and we are prime time here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan here as we got a pretty good one, Dave. They kept Verlander in mostly because the Astros came back and got a couple of runs. So now it's a 3-2 game in the 4th inning here, and all of a sudden that plus 2.5. Not a bad look here with the Astros, who were down 3-0 early, and that's not going to be great for St. Louis, given the fact that their bullpen was pretty taxed here, especially with extra innings last night in Philadelphia here. The Mets are trying to hold on for a win, 8-5 there. And love the pitchers battle going on right now in Detroit with Texas. 1-1. Evaldi looks good, man. If they can keep him healthy in Texas, Dave, and he can hold down the fort as a solid number one, and you get Scherzer and DeGrom back here in the next month or so, I mean, all of a sudden, yeah, the reinforcements are coming. I would not sell on Texas anytime soon. I don't know if they have any board on what the Texas future price is here. I don't know if it feels like a lot of people have stuck a fork in this team, but I am far from thinking they are finished. I think the best for them is yet to come, especially come August. If they can keep Evaldi as that number, he did the same thing last year. Don't forget, he was their legit number one. DeGrom went down early. They went and got Scherzer, and then Evaldi was the ace of that staff here, and man, he certainly looks the part here again tonight. He did last time out, his last outing. He was lights out too against the Diamondbacks. He was absolutely phenomenal. So if that's what they're going to get, I think there's hope for Texas before it's all said and done.
There's definitely hope in Texas. I mean, that division is still pretty wide open. There's nothing put away.
Yes.
Mariners are playing, leading the division. I think the team you could rule out, obviously, is the Angels. The Astros are below expectations. And Texas is right there. I mean, they just have to hang around long enough to get the reinforcements. I think they'll be fine. You know who?
I can't figure out Seattle.
Cruz, baby. Got a double.
I can't
Reds
figure them
got
out.
another run, 2-1, and then they got a home run from Candelario. It's 4-1 Reds. Here we go. Bottom of the third. I hope you grabbed the Reds when they were down. We're getting it going now. So that's a good thing. You were talking about Texas, and the Stars are done. Okay? The Stars are done. But the Mavericks now have the full focus for at least the next, I don't know, hopefully it's a long series. I'm hoping it's 6. I'd love to see a 7-game series. All right. Dallas Mavericks. Well, there's the Stanley Cup total games. Let's get a number. Hopefully that's 6 as a favorite, plus 158, plus 154, whatever those numbers are there. Let's go long. But look at this. 6 games plus 210. 5 games is the favorite. Joe, can we please get 6 games? Can the Mavericks get us at least back home where, I don't know, it's hard to clinch on the road. We saw Dallas do it in Minnesota. You think this is a long series?
I think it is a long series, yes. I think when you get to this particular point, I don't think there is it's certainly not as far a gap as what you're seeing here. I mean, 6.5, maybe 7 in game 1. So what are you telling me? Boston's 3.5, 4 points better on a neutral court? What's home court advantage? 2? 2.5 points? You're gonna tell me on a neutral court that they are nearly 4 or 5 points better than Dallas? I don't see it. I do think that there's still a lot of question marks here with Porzingis. He finally did practice, I believe, today. They're saying that he's finally back with the team, but, a gust of wind could come by and Porzingis could fall down and get hurt at any particular moment. So the guy has got talk about Glass Joe. You got to be kidding me. Unbelievable. Right. Yeah. So I don't trust him, Dave. Bottom line is I don't trust Porzingis' health.
Boston in 6? You like that one?
It's going to be decided in 7. It's going to be decided in 7. It's going to land in Boston in Game 7, and we're going to figure out. They're going to earn this championship if they win it. We'll have more on that when we get back. In-game live primetime continues here on the Grid.
the Warriors learn some of that split action that they run offensively and bring it to your own team. Folks, the name is Kenny Atkinson. Every time there is a job with a young core that needs to take the next step, I always think of Kenny Atkinson.
Only on SportsGrid.
The numbers might look crazy, especially depending on where you think Jared Goff falls in the National Football League. I would consider him, maybe as crazy as this sounds, a top 10 quarterback.
And again, the theory behind paying your quarterbacks and your top-rated players, pay them earlier. The longer you wait, it only costs you money. If you have a top-flight wide receiver, pay him here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. It's your quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 years, 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Six months. All right, welcome back in-game live primetime here on the Sports Grid Network. Oh, look at that. Rockies just inched a little bit closer. 4-2 right now. Reds and Rockies. In-game number should be 46. It's only 13.5. But there is absolutely no way we're looking at an under with these two gas cans on the mound in the altitude in Colorado. This could be one of those 15, 16 games here, Dave, when it's all said and done for sure. The Astros only down a run. Tigers, Rangers, bottom of 6, still 1-1. The Orioles hit another home run. I think they have 5 tonight in a 7-2 lead right there, closing it out. And the Mets and Nationals, who we just were forced to jump on because the Mets bullpen is in. So we did take the Nats plus 2.5 here. We'll see if they can get just one more run. I think that's all they'll need to get it done in here. We were talking NBA, of course, coming up, NBA Finals on Thursday. Definitely buying the fact that it's going to go 6 or 7 games. And you've got some series spreads and some exact score props, which are always fun at this time of year, too, here. And, hey, if you think Boston's going to win, taking Boston to win 4-2, 4-3, plus 350, plus 450, I don't see how you lose money. If you're looking to make a bit of a profit there, you can actually take those because I don't believe Celtics, even though that's the chalk, I believe Celtics 4-1, right? Gentlemen sweep, that's not happening. Absolutely not happening. So
I don't think so.
4-2, 4-3 is what I would be okay with. But again, I think this is a huge series where there is a big difference between the Celtics winning the series and the Celtics going, let's say it is in 5. Going 1-4 against the number would not shock me. So the Celtics could win, but they ain't covering. That's the thing that people are going to have a hard time with here, Dave, because they're going to associate the Celtics winning with the Celtics covering 7.5, 6.5. I don't think so. I think there's money to be made backing Dallas in this series, and especially if Boston wins Game 1. There is no way I'm not zigzagging my way through the first part of these finals.
So, a couple things. Do you think we can roll out a sweep either way? because there's prices for a sweep. And, I mean, the Dallas price for a sweep is, I mean, I don't want to say it's a sucker play, but it's 25-1. That's a big number, okay? They're plus 180 to win the series. I think you could multiply out the money line, and it might be a little better price. Celtics, the sweep is only 5-1. If you think we can roll out the sweep either way, Joe, you got to find a couple pockets of bets there. Celtics win 4-2, nice price. Dallas wins in 6. That Dallas wins the series 4-2, maybe plus 4-1, which is actually, wow. I don't know. That feels very short. But them winning at home is always the favorite of the scenarios. And that's the only way they can win it at home other than a sweep. So that's why that's always a favorite. But I think the books went a little bit, that's a little bit low. I don't know. How about the series spread, where you go, all right, do you want Celtics minus 1.5? Instead of laying a series price minus 220, that gets you every scenario except the 7-game series, and it's only minus 110. So that could be a way to look if you like the Celtics. Now, if you think the Celtics are going to win, but you just think maybe what if somebody gets hurt? You want to take them plus 1.5 games, lay $4? How is that not free money? Like our guy Sammy thought that LSU was tonight when North Carolina's winning and closing this thing out.
Yes.
Sorry, Sam, I didn't mean to catch strays, but Celtics plus 1.5 minus a big number. That's a winner, no?
Well, I mean, but they're telling you it's going 6. They're basically telling you it's going 6. It ain't going to be. It's for it to be this close. If the Celtics were guaranteed we're even close to a 4 or 5 game gentleman sweep or sweep, their minus 1.5 would be at a hell of a lot bigger number than it is right now. This is going to go at least 6 games, possibly 7. And I don't think that number exudes a whole lot of confidence in just outright Boston winning this. So there is a lot that can happen in this series. And I think people have gotten wrapped up. And let me just say this. I don't care how good they were during the regular season. It means squat right now. Don't tell me how good they were when they played Dallas back in December. And none of that means anything right now. Dallas is clearly a better team than they were during the regular season. So it won't hold anything against Dallas that they did during the regular season. And I'm certainly not giving credit for Boston for something they did. I don't care. They have been the market darlings the entire season. They've been overvalued. Is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. They deserve to be here because you can only beat the teams in front of you. You go 12-2 straight up, you're here. But you also went 7-7 against competition that none of those teams had their best player, had their superstars, and you still didn't cover in those games. Nothing is going to change. I don't see the market not overvaluing them for the rest of the way here. Even if Dallas was to win game 1, Dave, you're still going to look at a market that's so going to overreact to Boston in game 2. There is going to be nothing but overreaction for Boston every game that they lose here. And they are going to lose a few games here. And there is going to be an opportunity to get some value on these spreads here as this series progresses for both teams, by the way.
I love the confidence. I love all of it. The Rockies got another run. It's 4-3, end of 3 in Denver. So the Reds are still leading, but they're hanging on. I got to throw you a curveball here because our boys threw us a curveball, and they're talking about where Bronny's getting drafted. And before we bring Cam on, we got to mention it because we got all these things to talk about, and the NBA draft special will be on SportsGrid in a couple weeks. We'll be talking about the draft. Did you see these numbers? Did you see this? Like, it's a done deal. The Lakers are taking Bronny James. And if it ain't the Lakers, there's a shot that it's the Suns. But nobody else on that list, can you agree, is taken? Now, whether you want to talk about it or not, I asked you the question. We got the graphics, Joe. Those numbers, you don't even need to know anything about the draft. No one else other than those two teams has drafted Bronny James. Agree or disagree?
I think there is a third option there that nobody's talking about. Yes, yes.
What is that?
It's also, how about the nobody gives a crap team, because he's not going to last 2 periods in the NBA. You got to be kidding me. And by the way, LeBron, what do you think you're going to do Bronny any favors by putting that kind of pressure on him? He couldn't even make the starting roster at USC. No scout that has ever seen him play thinks he's even remotely close to NBA material. So the nepotism is not a great thing just so you can play with your... So it's all about you, right? So what happens when you retire in a year and he can't play or make any roster at all? Like, what are you doing here, man? Send the kid to Australia. Like, let him get the reps. Do not do this. Like, don't draft him. Let him go to Europe and see how he does. I don't know what they're talking about here. It makes no sense.
Do you remember our friend Dubsy? Dubsy's sitting somewhere in some sauna right now. Just sent me a text. He's watching the show. You remember how Dubsy would give us words like dog's breakfast and different things?
Yes.
You could put up that list of guys and, have me try to pronounce their names. And that might be a fun segment because I can't even pronounce half the names on that crap.
The first 2 dudes are French.
The Warriors learn some of that split action that they run offensively and bring it to your own team. Folks, the name is Kenny Atkinson. Every time there is a job with a young core that needs to take the next step, I always think of Kenny Atkinson.
Only on SportsGrid.
The numbers might look crazy, especially depending on where you think Jared Goff falls in the National Football League. I would consider him, maybe as crazy as this sounds, a top 10 quarterback.
And again, the theory behind paying your quarterbacks and your top-rated players, pay them earlier. The longer you wait, it only costs you money. If you have a top-flight wide receiver, pay him here.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. Took a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
We'll talk.
All right, welcome back InGame Live, PrimeTime here on the SportsGrid Network. We are joined by the man taking over the top of the hour here with Sports Rage, Cam Stewart in the house here, getting ready for what should be pretty fun week here. A lot of Major League Baseball. The Memorial's coming up this week there, Cam. We've got the Florida Panthers and Edmonton. We've got Dallas and Boston. What did you have Edmonton last night on 10 shots to win?
I was on Dallas.
Me neither. Okay, good.
I'm a loser.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I call my dad to see how he is, and every morning he goes, "Told you, son. Edmonton. I go, thanks, Dad. Not only am I losing my money, I go, Dad, didn't you have the Rangers? He's like, oh, yeah, so I guess we tied.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, I guess we did. Anyway, love my father reminding me how much money I lost on the Dallas Stars. God, I love my father. He's amazing. He knows my bets. He knows I'm in trouble. That's why he's not asking me to take him out for breakfast. Robert McIntyre. I'm still getting over the Canadian Open, laddie. The old Scot from Northern Scotland. Why couldn't it have been Cameron Stewart winning all that money? I'll tell you, the father on the bag, that guy, oh, man.
Yep.
He had me in tears. I thought I was back at my old buddy's house in Aberdeen.
Yep.
Good time.
What a story.
Yep.
What a story.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that. We'll get to the hockey in a second.
Yeah, I got picks.
But
too.
I saw the clip. I wasn't watching it live, and literally brought me to tears and thinking this guy got his first PGA win, needed a caddy, called his dad, said, I'm bummed out, I'm homesick, all this other stuff. Come over here where you carry the bag for me. He wins the tournament, can't even talk afterward, and how excited he was. Even if you lose money on that, that's one of the best stories in golf all season, is it not?
Oh, definitely. I'm cheering for McIntyre. He's just a good guy. It's kind of funny, like people want Rory and they want the other guys. You know me, Dave and Joe. I'm all for the little guy. My buddy from, like, my best friend's from Scotland, so he even got choked up for McIntyre. You know, he seems like a great kid. He's won in the European Tour, but amazing. First time his dad comes out, he wins in Canada. Big win. It's and honestly, that's the best. He's like, so Mr. McIntyre's like, I cut grass for a living, you know. I'm not. He goes, are you going to caddy next week? No, I'm going back home, laddie. So he's like bringing his old caddy back, but hey, he's got a ticket to the Memorial. He's got, Joe, you know the way golf sets up. It's one of the beautiful sports. You earn your future when you play good for a weekend, and it was a fantastic story. How the Scot won. A popular win, in my opinion. I know a lot of people were disappointed with Mackenzie Hughes. He gave it a battle, and I needed Tom Kim, and he fell a little bit short, but we got a top four. But good story. Sometimes it's not about the money. It's been incredible this year for golf, guys, and yeah, it got me choked up.
Well, and he didn't wilt because there were everybody. I mean, Rory's shooting 64 on a Sunday, posted a number. They were up. They were coming after him, and the fact that he didn't wilt is even more impressive than everything else. Because there's a lot of guys that would have absolutely melted in that spot. And Cam, he was up 4 shots heading into Sunday, and we were still able to hop on him at plus money. When has that ever happened where a guy is 4 strokes ahead and you can still get him at plus money on Sunday?
No, the
Unreal.
No, they give him no respect. I guess they don't know about his European tour. Like this guy, like he almost came back and beat Rory when he was a million strokes down. People don't know. I watch a lot of golf, so I know Robert McIntyre's a real player. Played on the Ryder Cup team. You can't be a chump to make the Ryder Cup team. But no respect for him, Joe. I should have gone on it more, but I had too many eggs in the basket with Tom Kim and a couple other guys making a late charge at falling short. But let's get into the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, please.
I'm gonna piss off John Stewart, my dad, who's not my caddy, but my betting advisor. He tells me to take Edmonton. I'm saying, slow down, Johnny. I'm on those pesky Cats. Give me the Panthers to win the Stanley Cup at minus 125. As Scotty Farrell says, I'm now not the Prime Minister of Canada. I've been fired. Carter Verhaeghe, most points in the series, 13-1. My favorite Panther. I think the top lines will take care of themselves. If Verhaeghe gets power play time, watch out for this guy. He's an absolute animal. Over 5.5 points in the series for my guy. I'm all in on Verhaeghe, guys. I really like that. NBA, Boston to win first game and series, minus 130 instead of letting over $2. That's the way I'm going to attack that. We're going to do some parlays as well. I'm on the Celtics in that one. And also, we have Boston to win in 6 at plus 450 and in 7. If it goes 6, we're golden. If it goes 7, we're golden. I'll bet both. I think it's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. So we will take both of those bets at plus money. One of them hits, we're laughing, guys. But I like the way Celtics to win game 1 and series. I don't have to lay over $2. That's the way we're going to attack that. I know Morency will have way more than that. That's basically our appetizers right now. We're going to have way more bets with like MVP for the Stanley Cup, other things. These are things that we just put together right now.
We'll talk about all that as the week goes on. That's good to hear. I got a 2-part question for you before we get you out of here to go do the show with Morency. 1, Blue Jays over the weekend take 2 or 3 from Pittsburgh, and then they go to Baltimore tonight. They're getting one put on them. this is one of those things where it leads into this question. Try to explain to people whether you're rooting for Edmonton or not because you're Canadian. I mean, Toronto and Edmonton, very far apart, different things. I've been talking about it with people all week. It's like, if you have a ticket on Canada to win the Stanley Cup, maybe you do. But like, people from Calgary are not rooting for Edmonton, right?
My brother is. He's like one of those guys, like he wants a Canadian team to win. He doesn't gamble like I do. I go, you know what? I got my own situation. I think Florida's a better team, but a lot of Canadians, I will say this, Dave, will bet on Edmonton now because they're sick and tired of a Canadian team not winning a Stanley Cup since the Montreal Canadiens, like 30 years. Like, you know what I mean? Morency's was selling beers out of a cooler back in the day, you know, when he had hair when Montreal won. So Canadians will cheer for Canadians. I think Florida's the better team, but we will see what happens in the series. I just think Florida's tougher, and eventually they will wear down Edmonton. Edmonton better jump on them early because the longer the series goes, I think the more it's going to favor Florida. I think they're tougher. I just think I watched what they did to the Rangers. They were like a suffocating snake. They're just absolutely mean. They're just mean, and they roll out guys and they pummel you. Can Stu Skinner do what he did and save a game? Dallas should have won that game. We should have been in Game 7, but that guy stood on his head. Can he do it for the whole series? I think not. So that's what we'll talk about that more later on in the week.
I hope they save their frequent flyer miles in Edmonton because it's a long ass trip. It's a long trip, buddy. Here. Kim Stewart, enjoy, my man. We'll be back in Game Live Prime Time.
The Warriors learn some of that split action that they run offensively and bring it to your own team. Folks, the name is Kenny Atkinson. Every time there is a job with a young core that needs to take the next step, I always think of Kenny Atkinson.
Only on SportsGrid.
The numbers might look crazy, especially depending on where you think Jared Goff falls in the National Football League. I would consider him, maybe as crazy as this sounds, a top 10 quarterback.
And again, the theory behind paying your quarterbacks and your top-rated players, pay them earlier. The longer you wait, it only costs you money. If you have a top-flight wide receiver, pay him here.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
That was Aaron Rodgers' thing. To your quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
It's a luxury pick. We don't have the luxury. We're trying to win right now. I'm in a window right now, and you're going to say, no, we're going to plan this for the future. With a guy who had 4 seasons ended by injury. 4. Like, Michael Penix is a walking injury. Like, what are you doing taking him in the top 10?
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Using the parlays against one another, right? And being able to get a little bit of juice consig, I found to be a little interesting.
Believe me, all the rhombuses and parallelograms are constantly trying to search and find out those things every day. It's one of the battles that you know, as you expand the menu, you encounter new battles.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Man, if nothing else, the Mets are absolutely consistent here. Welcome back in-game live primetime here as we wrap up this edition. Get ready for Gabe Morency and Cam Stewart taking over here at the top. The Mets have promptly, in an 8-5 game, almost loaded the bases, walked the first two batters here in the bottom of the ninth for Washington. Plus 2.5 was the bet we gave out a couple of innings ago with the Mets bullpen. And now they have first and third, one out, bottom of the ninth. Just need one more run here, Washington. One more, and a possible 3-run home run would, of course, tie this game up, and we all know how this is going to end with the Mets bullpen here. Tigers, Rangers still 1-1, top of the 8th. What a pitcher's battle on that one. The Reds have opened it up 7-3 here, and the Padres scored early, and watching this kid throw this knuckleball is pretty funny to tell it is moving all over the place here. So this should be a fun one, and I don't think, Giants, Diamondbacks, nothing already. Top of the second inning in that one. What are you going to focus on here tonight?
Well, I'm going to keep an eye on the Reds and hopefully get that thing closed out. The boys are all on this under in this college baseball game. Somebody just hit a home run, so they're going to be sweating that. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. We'll see.
Mets.
I'm already looking forward to tomorrow baseball slate. And you got Kansas City playing Cleveland. That's not done yet. Relax, everybody calm down. Kansas City and Cleveland tomorrow. Really good baseball game. Lugo, McKenzie. Pirates hosting the Dodgers. Glasnow and the Dodgers in town against Jones tomorrow and Skeens on Wednesday. I can't wait to see that. We'll see. Again, the Phillies closed it out tonight against the Brewers. And listen, they got Sanchez going tomorrow against undecided. This might be one of those where you got to get on the Phillies in the morning because that number's going to go up. And the Yankees. All they did was go 7-2. You heard Kurtz earlier. Nice road trip for them. They come home and they get the Twins with Gill pitching, which somehow is. I'm looking ahead. It's around minus 155, 160 in parts. That might be a little bit light. A little bit light. What do you say?
Bases juiced, one out. Nobody, another run has scored here. Now they're going to the bullpen again. The Mets bullpen is laughable. Absolutely laughable. What did I say? I said they needed 16 runs to feel comfortable about getting this bullpen in. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like 9 is going to be in. It's the most unbelievable thing. And yes, Detroit did just hit a home run, I think. Eovaldi is out. Now 2-1, top of the 8th. Leclerc came in and got rocked for a 2-1 lead. Now Detroit, though. So a couple of more at-bats for that. But it's, what do you do when you have it's joking. It's a joke, Max. An absolute joke.
For the New York teams, Joe, it's been such a long time. Okay. Combined, there were graphics today out on the socials, and I was going to send it. But still, it's too soon. I didn't want to send it to put it on the show to Vinny and other people that are New York Ranger fans and things like that. It's been 100 seasons, sports seasons, that a New York team has not won a championship. So I don't want to pick on the Mets. The Mets pick on themselves. They keep doing it. It's tough being a Ranger fan. It's tougher being a Mets fan. But listen, those Yankees, don't worry, boys. They'll be playing tomorrow. And the Soto prop, the American League MVP, Aaron Judge, probably hit another home run. We'll have all of that tomorrow. But tonight,
you know what's not tough, though? You know what's not tough? Betting against the Mets bullpen. It might just be the most easiest thing to do in the entire world. There is no reason to bet a Mets game outside of InGame in the 7th inning on. That's when you bet a Mets game with a lead. Absolutely unbelievable here. Do think this Giant Diamondbacks game should be a fun one, though. They are just heading to the bottom of the 2nd inning with the Diamondbacks coming up. Dave said it, plenty of great baseball games coming up tomorrow as well. We'll be a little bit closer to the puck dropping and the tip-off for the NBA Finals. We'll have much more on that. So come back and join us here. In the meantime, Gabe Morency, Cam Stewart next here on the Grid. Have a great night. Go Mets. Go Mets.